Ali Abdaal, Feel Good Productivity, How to Do More of What Matters to You. From the outside, Ali Abdaal looked like he had it all together. He'd aced his way through medical school at Cambridge University and was now working as a junior doctor in the UK's National Health Service, or NHS, by day and a YouTuber by night. Except, as one Christmas day spent on call clearly demonstrated, he didn't. Until then, the secret behind Abdaal's impressive suite of achievements was actually no secret at all. He was just very good at adhering to the productivity system so widely espoused in our society: discipline. When the going got tough, though, Abdaal kept going. Enjoyment and well-being stayed on the back burner as he disciplined his way through patient visits, paperwork, and filming, editing, and promoting his video content. Yet, as Abdaal struggled to stay afloat during that fateful Christmas Day shift, staring blankly at the tray of medical syringes he'd just dropped while patients and nurses clamored for his attention, it struck him that there must be a better way. And it was this exact thought at this exact moment that led him to a profound insight he'd come to call feel-good productivity. After diving into the scientific literature and philosophical musings on productivity, Abdaal found he needed to flip his understanding of the concept. He discovered that success wasn't the result of some grim, draining hustle. Success was a more likely and sustainable outcome of feeling good. In this link to Ali Abdaal's Feel-Good Productivity, you'll find out about the research-backed Feel-Good Productivity Manifesto Abdaal has developed since then. Crucially, you'll learn about the 3 forces that can jeopardize your enjoyment and well-being on the road to lasting success and fulfillment: low energy, procrastination, and burnout, as well as the strategies you can use to overcome each. Finally, you'll be introduced to some fun mini-experiments to get the ball rolling. If, like Abdaal, you're striving for the truly enduring kind of success, you need to start putting your enjoyment and well-being first and not last. For Abdaal's fellow overachievers, this might take some getting used to, but fortunately, Abdaal has a well-tested roadmap ready for you. So if you're ready, let's get started.
Before we began, we release fresh content every week. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and enable notifications for the latest summaries. Our videos might be a tad longer, but that's because we're dedicated to delivering full book insights, so be sure to watch till the end. Let's dive in.
Energizers. If all this talk of feel-good productivity is sounding a little too woo-woo, fear not. There's actually solid biological science that supports its existence. As mentioned in the introduction, the first force responsible for preventing productivity of both the feel-good and hustle culture variety is low energy. Most often, like many people, you attempt to compensate for your lack of vitality with caffeine, sugar, and other external stimulants as you go about your day. But as you've no doubt experienced firsthand, these short-term fixes can only do so much. But there's an alternative that's also more sustainable, a cocktail readily available to you at any time: your hormones. Endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin all naturally flood your body with the physical and mental energy to accomplish more. And, here's the kicker, feeling good is what releases them. Fortunately, there are 3 accessible strategies you can employ to get these feel-good hormones circulating. Abdaal calls these the 3 Energizers: play, power, and people. Now, play points to what you'd expect, injecting more fun and adventure into your days. Yes, life is inherently stressful, but not every moment requires straight-faced seriousness. Instead, you can approach life with a spirit of sincerity, still caring deeply while allowing space for laughter and lightness. Remember, Your life is the quintessential journey. You're supposed to embrace, enjoy, and explore it, not soberly suffer through it. Abdal's second energizer, power, refers to a different type of power than the one you likely think of first. Instead of power over others, this kind of power is power over yourself. It's the sense of personal empowerment in your own life. Personal empowerment can still be attained even if your external circumstances seem to suggest otherwise. For instance, you might not get to choose what you work on in your day job, but you can always choose how you work on it, with the spirit of play perhaps. The third and final energizer, people, alludes to what you intuitively know. The individuals you spend the most time with matter, both for your mood and productivity. The obvious implication is that you need to surround yourself with more cheerleaders than vampires, people who lift you up rather than drain you out. If you don't already have such folk around you, you can lead the charge by modeling a dynamic of camaraderie rather than competition or conflict. At this point, the link between your energy, mood, and productivity should be somewhat clearer, and you've probably got a few ideas as to how you can incorporate more play, power, and people into your daily life. But here are a few of Abdal's many experiments to throw into the mix. When faced with a tedious or undesirable task, ask yourself, how can I make this fun? When attempting something overwhelming or anxiety-inducing, try, what would this look like if I was the world expert at it? And when feeling detached or isolated, consider who you could turn to for help on the specific issue. Asking someone for advice or support can paradoxically be just as much a gift to them as to you. So, although you now have the energy to execute, it still might not be that simple. In the next section, you'll discover what might be blocking this energy from freely manifesting. Unblockers. Procrastination. We won't ask for a hand raise. It's something everyone experiences, and in fact, you may have already encountered it today. As a result, it'll likely come as no surprise that procrastination is the second force that holds people back from sustained productivity and fulfilling their full potential. Now, typically there are two solutions to overcoming this formidable foe: discipline, Abdal's historic preference, and motivation. Where the discipline method encourages you to grin and bear it, come rain, hail, or shine, the motivation method advises you to perform fantastic feats of mental gymnastics, somehow mustering passion out of thin air. You've probably experienced these methods working at one time or another, but it's unlikely you found them to be foolproof strategies. After giving up his discipline at all costs approach, Abdaal discovered there was a third way: unblocking. Unlike discipline or motivation, the unblocking method suggests you first identify the root cause of your procrastination and, with this insight, address the primary problem head on. More often than not, you'll find the underlying cause is one of three things: confusion, fear, or inertia. Fortunately, though, you can easily counter each with their opposite: confusion with clarity, fear with courage, and inertia with action. Let's take a closer look at these three pairings. Now, it seems a no-brainer that confusion causes procrastination, but it's very rare to recognize it's simply a lack of clarity rather than a lack of motivation, for example, that's keeping you stuck. Simply taking a minute or two to run through the why, what, the how, the when, and where of the task or project in front of you can ultimately save you hours. Perhaps less overt is when the underlying cause of your procrastination is fear. After all, most people don't readily admit when they're anxious or scared, and yet that may be all you need to do. Simply label your emotional experience. Doing so makes your feelings less ambiguous and intangible. It reduces your rumination and offers you the first glimpse that conquest may be possible. And finally, inertia. The law of inertia, or an object at rest stays at rest, is just as accurate in personal productivity as it is in fundamental physics. You see, the first step towards something hard and worthwhile will always be the most challenging. So keeping the bar low, say taking action for just 5 minutes, is often, paradoxically, the most effective means of achieving the things that matter most to you. With this knowledge, you may have a few ideas on how you could draw on greater clarity, courage, and action when needed. But for fun, here are a few mini experiments from Abdaal's personal archives. So if you need to conjure clarity, conduct a pre-mortem and imagine you have a crystal ball and can see how a task or project played out, for better or worse. Then make a plan to tackle the lead dominoes that led to the foreseen success or failure. Are you called to summon courage? Reflect on the 10-10-10 exercise and ask yourself how much this fear-inducing event will matter in 10 minutes, 10 weeks, and 10 years. Very few occasions are of the magnitude that you initially believe them to be. To inspire action, consider finding yourself an accountability buddy to work toward your goals in tandem. As a place to start, Reddit's Get Motivated Buddies forum has over 179,000 members, all looking to do the same. At this point, you should hopefully have the energy to execute and have rooted out the most common blocks. And now, it's time to set you up to sustain your inevitable success. Sustainers. A curious thing happened to Abdaal a few months after he started living the entrepreneurial life of his dreams. By this time, he'd taken a break from his day job as a junior doctor in the NHS to go all in as a YouTuber. His efforts quickly paid off. Soon, Abdaal was working full-time on the project he loved, was making more money than he could have ever imagined as a doctor, and was running a small team to help him do it. So why was he planted, face down on his sofa, moaning to his mom about his life? He was prioritizing play, power, and people, and was guarding against confusion, fear, and inertia. What was missing? There was one last piece to the feel-good productivity puzzle: sustaining success. The third and final force that keeps people from their full potential is burnout. But as Abdaal was to discover, there was a little more to it than just that. In fact, Abdaal learned there are actually 3 distinct breeds of burnout: overexertion, depletion, and misalignment. Though they're typically lumped together under the same broad burnout umbrella, it aids recovery if you can accurately diagnose which one you're grappling with. In Abdaal's case, he was suffering from a little of all 3. So, as you've probably guessed, Abdaal set about finding a fix for each. Here's where he landed: focusing on conserving when overexerted, recharging when depleted, and realigning when misaligned. After a point, it doesn't really matter if you adore what you're doing. If you're overexerted, you're overexerted. So if you're fortunate enough to be in this position, you have to learn to say no to the great so you can say yes to the extraordinary. In a similar vein, burnout can equally arise as a result of how you spend your downtime. If your time away from work isn't truly rejuvenating, say you're scrolling social media or mindlessly flicking through Netflix titles, you're likely to feel just as depleted as if you worked a 12-hour day. But perhaps the trickiest type of burnout to identify is misalignment, because it's less dependent on the quantitative, or how many hours you're doing something, as it is on the qualitative, what you are doing in those hours. It's inherently draining to sustain something that doesn't match up with your values and sense of self. So to avoid overexertion, try scheduling substantial breaks into your workday. Studies have shown people are better able to commit to what matters with a work-to-break ratio of 52 to 17 minutes. To stop depletion burnout from being your foe, Integrate more nature into your downtime. Go for a walk, sit out somewhere green, or, if you really must scroll something online, opt for images of the natural world instead of celebrity selfies. If none of the above hit the spot, misalignment burnout may be the cause. In this case, set aside a few minutes to complete the eulogy exercise. Now, don't be put off by the morbid sounding name. Contemplating death can offer a profound perspective on your life. What would you like your family and friends to say at your funeral? How would you like to be remembered? Compare these answers to your current reality and see whether any small shifts to realign yourself can be made. And there you have it. You are now a newly qualified feel-good productivity scientist. Congratulations! Keep experimenting. It's this creative, curious, and playful mindset, rather than any specific strategy, that will ultimately enable you to manifest your full potential. Enjoy. In this Blink to Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal, you've learned that you need to flip your understanding of productivity. Sustained success isn't the result of some grim hustle. Sustained success comes from feeling good. But unfortunately, you'll likely encounter at least one of the three forces that jeopardize your enjoyment and well-being on the road to success: low energy, procrastination, and burnout. Yet, as you've now learned, you can overcome each by wielding Abdaal's Energizers, Unblockers, and Sustainers. There's no need, in fact, it's counterproductive, to sacrifice your enjoyment and well-being until you've attained success. Prioritize feeling good now, and success will naturally follow.
Got feedback? We love to hear from you about our content. Just share your thoughts and book recommendations in the comments section. And be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about the latest extracts. Thank you, and have a great day.